All right, I would like to welcome everybody to the Oracle M podcast. We've come back for another round. We have Laquan and Kevin. God, I can't even talk today. How are you guys doing?
He's
Get it together first.
yeah.
I'm okay.
I can't talk today. Like that's like different than some other day.
Oh man, you were
Tripping
drowning
over
for a minute. Yeah.
I know, man. Like, dude, we're just getting started here. All right, so yeah, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Oracle In podcast. Today, we're going to be going over some current events, and the way we're going to start breaking this down is that we're doing this live for about an hour, and then we're going to go back afterwards, and we're going to chop things up into 3 different segments for about 20 minutes each, and I think it'll help to make it more digestible for our viewers if you just kind of want to watch it in shorter segments. So today we'll be covering current events for about 20 minutes, and then we're going to cover the role of professional sports in society for about 20 minutes, and then talking about something that I think would be interesting, and that's how relationships function in the 21st century. So for current events, what have you guys been seeing?
I think I think it's really important to kind of note that protesting is actually working. You know, because there's been 2 Republicans that have pulled their support, or I guess abstaining from confirming Betsy DeVos or whatever, the Secretary of Education. And so that's unprecedented. You know, you got 2 Republicans, all they need is 1 more, and then she can't go forward. So it kind of goes to show, because people are like, oh, I'm tired of marching. Marching doesn't do anything. But this actually really does show that marching, protesting does get things done, you know, if you concentrate your efforts. So I think that's huge. There's no way that she can be confirmed. She will be the death of education in America going forward if she's confirmed. So
Yeah,
you know what's interesting about that? Just real quick, Kevin. So what I heard was that from the Democrats and the 2 Republicans that are opposed, apparently they're all women.
yeah.
well, I mean, not all the Democrats are women.
Well,
You know, it's just
from what I
all
heard,
the Democrats.
basically everybody that's opposing her are pretty much women. I mean, I would like to look into that. I didn't actually see on the Democrat side, but I thought that was kind of interesting.
Huh. Yeah, so basically the reason that you need 1 more is the Republicans have 52 seats in the Senate. So if 2 of them have jumped sides, it's now a 50-50 vote, right? And the tie-breaking vote is from Vice President Douchebag. And he would obviously confirm her. So yeah, we just need one more Republican to grow a backbone for once and say, hey, this lady is no good. No bueno.
I mean, it's clear that she's unqualified. You know, I mean, it's like, I don't care what your intellect level is, what your common sense level is. Like, anybody can see she is severely underqualified for this position. But yet, you know, they're doing everything in their power to push her through. And it's sad. It's like, I feel like the foundation, one of the big pillars of the society is education, you know, and this person is literally going to try to undo everything based off how she feels things should be. Like, she has 0 public education experience. None of her kids have ever gone to public schools. She knows nothing about student loans. She said it already that she has never had to take one. Her kids have never had to take one. I mean, I think she's a billionaire or something.
You know, she is.
Yeah, she's a billionaire.
An heir to the Amway fortune, whose brother did Blackwater Security. She gave $200 million to Republicans over the last few years. A lot of that to Donald Trump. So I know Bernie Sanders has been kind of on her recently, as other Democrats have, but saying, you know, if it wasn't for that $200 million, do you think they'd even be talking to you?
That's the truth, you know. So I mean, if you look at a lot of his nominees, like Linda McMahon, you know, like literally, because I mean, they gave a significant donation, you know, to his campaign. So how do you pay him back?
Yeah, you get to be in charge of something.
Exactly. So, you know, it's really weird, and I'm actually glad that there are Republicans out there that's like, you know what, this isn't right. Instead of just going with the status quo. So this is actually a big, small victory. You know, small.
Well, what do you guys think about the Democrats who voted for the other ones? Like Ben Carson doesn't know anything about HUD, Rex Tillerson, and they voted for them.
Yeah, I think that they're chicken shits and they're playing a game of I want to get my bill sponsored through Congress, so I'll give the Republicans a vote so that when it comes time, they're not going to shoot me down. I think that's the game that they're playing right now is, hey, we'll be good boys and girls, but understand what that means.
Ben Carson's harmless, in the grand scheme of things, because he's not really going to be pulling any triggers on anything.
He's going to quit if it gets hard at all.
He's the front man. All the things that are actually going to happen, he will not. He will just be out there. He's a spokesperson, pretty much. That's it. They will feed him the information, and he will go out there and regurgitate it. But he is not going to get his hands dirty. He has no power. He has the position, but no power. They won't say that, but that's exactly how it kind of goes. Rex Tillerson,
no, that's some bullshit.
He's a good old boy. He's going to get through. It's actually really, let me pivot real quick. This kind of really shows to the dynamic how it's always been. The woman will always be shot down. You know what I'm saying? You see, two Republicans jumping, but the guys is kind of shoot them through. You know what I'm saying? So even though it's just that she shouldn't go through though, but still, like, there's more opposition for her because Ben Carson is a surgeon. Why isn't he a surgeon general? You see what I'm saying? Like, why the hell is he HUD? It makes zero sense. One of the best surgeons to ever do it, but yet you're not surgeon general.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense to anybody?
Well, I mean, you're setting the guy up to fail. I mean, they made a deal on the campaign trail, I bet.
Yeah.
There's I don't know. Actually, one current event, I mean, we'll get into Donald Trump's world a little bit with Twitter, but he, at the prayer breakfast or whatever, which I'm pissed that they even have. So there's this prayer breakfast. Then he goes there and starts saying, I want everyone to pray for Arnold because his ratings are so bad on Celebrity Apprentice. And you're like, dude, what a cock. But then Arnold hit back with, hey, well, then why don't we switch jobs? You're so good at ratings, and I'll make sure that people can actually sleep at night.
Yeah, it's sad because, here it is, the president, whatever you want to call him, of the United States, all he does is tweet like a little 16-year-old boy or girl. Like, that's all he's doing. Or I actually know what 14-year-old boy or girl. He's just tweeting at every little thing, whether it's a show on TV. If you talk bad about him, I could never fathom that the president of this country would be taking petty shots at people through Twitter. I mean, think about it.
As his chief objective of the day, right? You're like, dude, don't you have other shit you need to be doing right now besides
personally attacking? There's things that I would do, but like this.
It's interesting, and I wanted to bring this up. So I was telling you guys, and for anybody at home, I would really recommend looking this up. So the Joe Rogan Experience brought on Alex Jones, and Alex Jones hosts his own podcast called InfoWars. And this guy is a really flamboyant, very overly dramatic, charismatic guy. I mean, he gets super amped and like roar, like a big bear going off or something like that. And I don't really particularly like that style. But Joe Rogan was interviewing him, and I think it was one of the longest podcasts that Joe Rogan has done. And for anybody that doesn't know, Joe Rogan, I think, has arguably one of the most successful podcasts of all time. I mean, his viewership is unreal. But when he brought Alex Jones on, Alex Jones, at first, I don't really watch Alex Jones that much. I always thought he was kind of like a far right-wing extremist, and he would take these extreme positions. But after watching this interview, it kind of changed my thinking a little bit, because I think Alex Jones is a guy who just wants the truth, and he's overzealous in how he goes about that. So he criticized like the George W. presidency, Obama presidency, and apparently he knows Trump, and he's had Trump on his show before, Alex Jones has. And when he was being interviewed and talking about what he sees Donald Trump doing, for just a minute, I actually felt like I understood what Trump supporters kind of want. And that's that I do think we have an overinflated federal government where, and mind you, I'm not saying Trump is the answer to all of this, but what I'm understanding about all this is that we are wasting so much taxpayer money that basically what Donald Trump wants to come in and do is obliterate basically the federal government as much as humanly possible, because he believes that these things are tying into a power structure where these are unbelievably wealthy elite. Like, what did I see the other day? That Congress only worked like 120 days last year, and they are getting paid like, hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxpayer money, and they're not working. They're not getting legislation through. They're not trying to work with other people to actually get policy pushed through. So I think that's where Donald Trump comes in, and he's like, well, how about I just break this up for everybody? And I think that's where a lot of his supporters are coming from. They just want to explode that thing because they think it's gotten too out of hand. So by that, Trump basically has the Reagan mentality of, let's explode, let's get rid of this federal government, because in doing that, it's going to drop the power, which is up here, back down to the states, and that in turn will drop back down into local governments where the power should be. At least that's what his message has been. And that's where I don't think he's the answer, because I think we do need a federal government. Like, I'm a big believer in the EPA. The EPA can always get better and be more efficient, but I really would like for an agency like that to stick around. But what do you guys think?
Trickle down politics? Is that what it says? Well, we see how well trickle down economics worked out, for America. So maybe, who knows? In theory, if that's really what he's trying to do, like, I get it, but I just
it doesn't actually work. So we have the state of Arizona, right? We're the crazy racist asshole grandpa. It's 115 years old, just yelling about get off my lawn, right? So we have Jan Brewer, aka Skeletor, that was shaking her finger at Obama and screaming about federal overreach and all this other stuff, right? So we get Doug Ducey, who is mini Trump. He's Trump's mini me, right? Big, CEO badass going to come in. And, their whole thing is, we don't want governmental overreach. That's bad. Let's the states be in charge. And then what they do is the state, the legislature, the governor come after cities within the state saying, you have to follow our rules. We are the last say. So it's not about any sort of local control. It's all about giving control to people that will never lose it. We're going back to ye olden times where we're granting, the Lord's land in the form of states, saying, let's get you set up. We'll let you do some gerrymandering. We'll let you do some, vote rigging, whatever you want to do. Let's get that going.
Well, now that's an interesting point that you're bringing up, because throughout the United States, one of the other things about these last elections is that the Republican Party pretty much won the vast majority of governorships. So if Trump is basically trying to, collapse this federal government that's, overgrown, just completely wasting taxpayer money on whatever, and they want to just, get rid of all that, drop it down to the state level where now Republicans are leading that, then yeah, you're right. Because and for anybody that's just tuning in for now, one of the things that we've seen here in Flagstaff, Arizona, that was really interesting was something as simple as trying to get a plastic bag ban. That once the state started to catch wind that we were going to enact a local ordinance, Bisbee, Arizona already had something in place. I think Tucson was looking into something like this. All of a sudden, when they saw that it was going to start to interfere with the economy and the environmentalist in me would love to go off on a tangent, but
it has nothing to do with interfering with the economy.
Well, but when they looked at it as why would you want to get rid of plastic bags, they thought that it would hurt the economy.
They did not. They legitimately feel like it's a UN Agenda 21 thing. That's who we're dealing with at the state level. These are people that think that the big, crazy New World Order is trying to impose socialist values on their cities. They know that. They know this doesn't do shit for the economy. It's not going to affect anyone one way or the other. What they're stopping is anything that smells like sustainability, and they all harken back to that UN Agenda 21.
Okay, from a state level, I can understand where you're saying that. I'm saying from a local level, because I interviewed a lot of businesses because I was a part of that trying to get them banned. And that's where I think that the business owners that were against that talked to local government, and local government has very, very, especially the right leaners, have very, very strong ties with the state government. So I think that might be where you're coming from, that they were basically saying, you don't want to let them have local control over that. You want to keep it at the state because that's where the power's at right now.
Yeah, they want to consolidate. They just don't like being told what to do, but what they want to do is tell everyone else what to do. They want all the power and none of the responsibility. So, I was a part of that. I actually didn't want to ban the bag. I was going for a fee so that we could take the fees from the bags and use it for trash cleanup, for, you know, giving away free grocery bags to people, like the reusable ones, stuff like that. But they banned any fees and they banned any ban. And they also, in that same one, I think, said that you cannot make energy efficiency mandatory. I think it was part of that same.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing that I'm really, and I mean, I knew this all along. I think now that I'm just, you know, starting to pay more attention to everything, what I don't think a lot of people realize is that the reason why politicians in a way have to sell their soul is because when bills are written, you don't just have one bill that covers one agenda. You can have one bill that covers several agendas in there, and they'll throw something in at the end if like some sort of a negotiation or a deal is met. And that's what happened with that ban. It was originally part of like this energy bill, and they just threw in that little thing in there. And all of a sudden now we're talking about local control is being stripped to the state level.
Yeah. They tried to do the same thing with minimum wage, but then they lost in court. So another fun news thing of the, you know, so it's Black History Month, and our Cheeto in chief apparently doesn't know who Frederick Douglass is, and it became a thing. It's the newest thing of this idiot doesn't know.
Well, you know, he changed.
Yeah, well, so at this,
he changed it to.
What's that?
He changed it. It's no longer Black History Month. It's African. He proposing it's African American History Month now. So that just happened, I think, about 2 days ago, 2-3 days ago. That's what he wanted to do. So that's, yeah.
Well,
why not, right?
It's a good thing you got the rich white billionaire letting you know exactly how it should be there, Laquan.
Yeah. Well, no, I laughed too, because when Pence put out his February 1st, his Black History tweet is like, yeah, let's take time to remember that Lincoln put out the 13th Amendment, you know, freeing the slaves. Is like, that's, just so you know, as white boys, you know, we freed y'all, so don't ever forget that, you know. So on the first day of February, you know, it's like, don't forget who we are. You know, we let y'all free. So just enjoy the 27 days left. So
yeah, enjoy the shortest month of the year.
Yeah, it's just, but no, it's funny because well, Eric, did you have something else to say? Because I was going to switch to another current bit. I don't know if anybody's really paying attention to like the Chinese conflict that, you know, we kind of had back and forth with the sandbars. So pretty much for people who don't know, what China has been doing is they've been setting up little like airstrip sandbars. So they have boats out there in the Pacific, and what they do is they have tubes that go to the sand, and so what it does is it sucks the sand from these sandbars, and it creates like a mini island, like a little airstrip. And so they have like these little bases and stuff like that, these little airstrips where they can have military there. And so America being America, you know, we're like, don't do that. But it's their stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because we feel like it's a threat. And, you know, was it Tillerson, right? The Secretary of Defense or whatever? Is that who he is?
He's the Secretary of State.
But either way, he was like, you know, we don't, you know, you shouldn't have, they want to take access away from their own little land, you know. So, and China's like, back the hell off, you know. He said, unless you're ready to go nuclear war, pretty much I'm paraphrasing, it's like, unless you're ready to go nuclear war, you know, you might want to chill out, you know. So and they're ready, you know. They've put it out there that, you know, America seems like they want to go nuclear. They're like, but unless they're ready, you know, then they need to leave it alone. So this could potentially be really bad.
That's what scares me about Trump, though, because and I would love to respect the man more. It's just I'm not seeing it or hearing it, but he's dumb enough to like let his ego be tested and be like, no. Like he will look at our military and be like, we are the strong. Like he will come from that mindset, and I don't think he would hesitate. Like if it really came down to a pushing and shoving match, I think he would just make some really bad decisions. And I'd be curious to see how the military reacts.
Well, I think the military early on, when they were talking about bringing back waterboarding and other stuff like that, you had all these generals coming out going, dude, fuck you. We're not doing any of that. We're not. If you order me to go do that, I'm going to tell you no. I'm not, you know. You had some military opposition early on. I think what's happening is the rest of the world is starting to look at us like North Korea, where Donald Trump is the Kim Jong-un. who, you know, likes likes to run his mouth and, you know, I got nukes, I'll use them all. And they're like, yeah, sure you will. You know, you're special. Go sit down in the corner, think about what you did. I think people are scared of him because they don't know what he's going to do. But you know, I think there's a lot of people that think that he's an all talk spaz.
Well, he is. He has a, you know, he's a narcissist, right? So I mean, if you kind of look at what's happening, I mean, they kicked out, you know, the generals and stuff like that from these security meetings, and he put, you know, the Breitbart guy that he, you know, is in his cabinet. Now he's in there. So it's almost like, we'll let you know when we need you. So the people who are supposed to be in there in these security council meetings are no longer in there. So for however long it's been, forever that we've ran it like that, it's no longer like that. I remember Nancy Pelosi came out, I think earlier this week, and she denounced, you know, Trump for doing that, you know, saying that we have a white supremacist in these security council meetings and stuff like that. You can kind of take what Nancy Pelosi says with a grain of salt too as well. But I did agree with, you know, what she was saying with that, because that's not good, because you don't know. And there's also too, kind of to piggyback on this, there was a story, it's actually a true story, is that they was recording Donald Trump and everybody in the Oval Office. Putin called. He was on the phone with Putin and they stopped recording. So there's no transcript of what happened on the phone. You know, from what I read, they stopped recording. So they don't know what was discussed on the phone. And normally you don't do that, you know, so.
Yeah.
As soon as Putin called.
That looks like some Nixon shit right there.
Yeah.